I awaken, ancient bones creaking like gnarled branches in the damp, fetid crypt deep within the forest's rotting heart. The stench of decay fills my nostrils as I emerge from my coffin, rusted hinges screaming in protest. I sense them. Intruders. Heartbeats pounding like war drums in the night, stirring the insatiable hunger within me. Rage sears my veins at their audacity, these pitiful mortals trespassing on my hallowed ground. I rise, tattered robes hanging on my emaciated frame, a twisted mockery of the finery I once wore. Hunger claws at me, an all-consuming need to hunt, to feed, to unleash the beast lurking beneath my desiccated flesh. I slink from the crypt, moonlight filtering through dense leaves, casting ghoulish shadows dancing like tortured specters on the forest floor. I meld into the darkness, an ancient predator stalking its prey. Their whispers reach my ears, footsteps crunching on decaying leaves, the reek of their fear tainting the night air. I move in silence, senses heightened by centuries of unlife. The aroma of pulsing, warm blood fills my nostrils, eliciting a rush of saliva. I can taste their mounting dread, a succulent amuse-bouche merely stoking my feverish bloodlust. There are 5 of them, their scents distinct and tantalizing. 3 men, their musk heavy with exertion and anxiety, and 2 women, their essences tinged with a delicate sweetness that makes my mouth water. They move clumsily through the undergrowth, their mortal senses dull and inadequate in the oppressive darkness. I single out the first victim, a burly man with a thick beard and wide, terrified eyes. He lags behind the others, his breath coming in ragged gasps as he struggles to keep pace. I stalk him from the shadows, drawing ever closer, savoring the prey's growing panic. In a blur of motion, I lunge, my razor-sharp claws shredding through his flesh like parchment. He screams, a high, piercing wail that sends a thrill down my spine. I sink my fangs into his throat, his hot blood gushing into my eager mouth, coating my tongue with its coppery sweetness. I drink deeply, relishing the way his body spasms and twitches as I drain him dry. His life force flows into me, a heady elixir that sends jolts of pleasure through my withered veins. I release his corpse, letting it crumple to the forest floor like a discarded husk. The others have heard his screams, their fear spiking to new heights. They crash through the underbrush, desperate to escape the unseen horror that stalks them. I give chase, my undead body moving with preternatural speed and grace, weaving between the trees like a wraith. I overtake the second man, a slender youth with wide, innocent eyes. He whimpers as I seize him, his body trembling like a leaf in a gale. I toy with him, letting him feel the icy touch of my flesh, the rasp of my fetid breath on his skin. Then, with a snarl of pure animalistic hunger, I tear into him, ripping through muscle and sinew, savoring the way his screams morph into wet, gurgling gasps as I feast on his innards. I leave him a hollowed-out husk, his entrails strewn across the forest floor like macabre streamers. The remaining 3 have scattered, their heartbeats like beacons in the night, guiding me to my next targets. I catch the scent of one of the women, her fear a pungent perfume that draws me like a moth to a flame. I find her huddled beneath a gnarled oak, her body quaking with silent sobs. She looks up as I approach, her eyes wide with horror and despair. I savor her terror, letting it wash over me like a balm. I crouch beside her, my clawed hand gently caressing her tear-stained cheek. She whimpers, her body paralyzed with fear. I lean in close, my lips brushing against her ear as I whisper dark promises of eternal agony. Then, with a sudden, vicious twist, I snap her neck, the brittle crack of bone echoing through the night. I drink from her limp form, savoring the way her essence mingles with her fear, creating a heady cocktail that sends shivers of ecstasy through my body. I move on, my hunger growing with each kill. The 4th victim, the other woman, puts up a fight, lashing out with a crude wooden stake that she clutches in her trembling hands. I laugh as the weapon shatters against my chest, splinters embedding themselves in my desiccated flesh. I seize her by the throat, lifting her off the ground with one hand. She kicks and struggles, her face turning purple as I slowly crush her windpipe. I watch the life drain from her eyes, savoring every moment of her agonizing death. Finally, only one remains. A grizzled hunter, his weathered face etched with determination and fear. He stands his ground as I approach, a crossbow clutched in his white-knuckled grip. We circle each other, the hunter's heartbeat thundering in my ears, his fear a tangible force that crackles in the air between us. I bare my fangs, a low guttural growl rumbling up from my chest. The hunter fires, the crossbow bolt whistling through the air, its silver tip glinting in the moonlight. I twist aside, the projectile grazing my shoulder, searing my flesh with its cursed touch. I lunge, my claws outstretched, hungering for the kill. The hunter dodges, his reflexes honed by a lifetime of battling the creatures of the night. We dance a macabre waltz, trading blows and feints, our bodies moving in a blur of savage violence. The hunter scores a hit, a blessed blade slicing across my chest, leaving a trail of sizzling, smoking flesh in its wake. I howl in rage and pain, my hunger momentarily forgotten in the face of this mortal's insolence. We clash again and again, the forest ringing with the sounds of our struggle, the clang of metal against claw, the rasp of labored breathing, the crunch of leaves beneath our feet. The hunter is skilled, his every move calculated and precise, but he is only mortal, and I am a creature of eternal nightmare. In the end, it is inevitable. I catch the hunter off guard, my claws raking across his face, blinding him with his own blood. He staggers back, his weapon falling from his nerveless fingers. I seize him, my fangs bared in a feral grin. He looks up at me, his one remaining eye wide with horror and despair. I savor his fear, letting it wash over me like a dark tide. "Please," he whispers, his voice cracking with terror. "Have mercy." I laugh, a cold, mirthless sound that echoes through the night. "Mercy," I hiss, my fetid breath washing over his face. I am the very antithesis of mercy. Mortal. I am the hunger that devours, the darkness that consumes, and you are nothing more than a fleeting spark, a mote of dust in the face of my eternal malice. With those words, I sink my fangs into his throat, his scream cut off by a wet, gurgling gasp. I drink deeply, savoring the rich, coppery taste of his life force, feeling it flow into me, rejuvenating my ancient flesh. As I drain him dry, I feel a sudden, searing pain in my chest. I look down, my eyes widening in shock and horror. The hunter's hand, trembling and slick with blood, clutches a silver dagger, its blade buried deep in my heart. I stagger back, my grip on the hunter's corpse slackening. I feel my strength ebbing away, the cursed metal sapping my unholy vitality. I claw at the wound, my fingers scrabbling uselessly against the embedded blade. The hunter slumps to the ground, his sightless eyes staring up at the canopy, a final, defiant smirk etched on his bloodied face. I snarl, rage and hunger warring within me, but it is too late. The silver spreads its poison through my veins, unraveling the dark magic that has sustained me for centuries. I crumple to my knees, my body convulsing as the curse takes hold. My flesh withers and cracks, my bones crumbling to dust. I let out a final, anguished roar, a sound of fury and despair that echoes through the night, sending the creatures of the forest scurrying for cover. As I dissolve, my essence scattering on the chill breeze, I feel a sudden, unfamiliar emotion take hold. Not rage, not hunger, but a strange sense of peace. For the first time in centuries, the gnawing ache within me, the insatiable thirst for blood and death, is finally quenched. I close my eyes, my consciousness fading into the void. Perhaps in some distant realm beyond the veil of death, I will find the redemption that eluded me in life. Or perhaps I will simply cease to be, my twisted soul consigned to oblivion.